The Climate Action Reserve is the most experienced and trusted offset registry to serve the carbon markets. As more organizations look to combat climate change and support environmental projects with true integrity, they turn to the reserve to foster real solutions and reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. We are excited to kick off the second series of Carbon Connection and feature external partners with insights and expertise in particular climate sectors and topics across the carbon market. I am your host, Lauren Napuk, and thank you for joining us. Hi, welcome to our next episode of Carbon Connection. Today, we are speaking with Ana Moreno, who is the coordinator of climate change with Panama's Ministry of Environment, or MiAMBIENTE. Ana is helping to lead the charge of building the foundation for a strong national carbon market in Panama that will support the country's local communities and also the country's climate change goals. Today, we are speaking with Ana about the development of this national carbon market in Panama and the importance of building social and environmental co-benefits into carbon projects. Ana, thank you for joining us.
Hello, Lauren. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. The pleasure is ours. And just to kick things off, Ana, what are co-benefits and why is it so important that they are built into carbon projects?
So, benefits are those additional positive effects resulting from an environmental policy or measure designed to mitigate climate change, thereby increasing the overall benefit to society and/or the environment. Carbon markets are evolving rapidly and in recent years have gained popularity as they are recognized as a cost-effective tool for achieving global temperature goals. However, this evolution has also brought increased examination of these markets in order to assess their true climate impact. It is here that co-benefits are gaining more relevance as they have become an indicator of high quality and integrity in carbon credits. Today, carbon credits and their benefits are expected to go beyond the results of reducing emissions or increasing removals. Climate action is expected to cause mostly positive impacts, not only in terms of carbon, but also in social and environmental aspects, and to minimize as much as possible the negative impacts caused by a carbon project. Climate action should be transparent and comprehensive. With the growth of carbon markets, many projects have promised positive impacts on the well-being of local communities and ecosystems. And at the same time, many projects have received accusations of violating human rights, including indigenous people and local communities. These allegations of carbon projects with low environmental integrity have become a concern for buyers. Buyers now prioritize carbon credits that include proven co-benefits, regardless of whether these may be more expensive. These co-benefits should be secured through more strict processes, such as the inclusion of robust systems of social and environmental safeguards. It is the duty of the actors involved in the generation of policies related to carbon markets and other actors that play a fundamental role in the evolution of markets to give these co-benefits the importance they deserve and to integrate them into each of our processes so that we can ensure effective and real climate action.
Ana, thank you so much. That was a fantastic introduction to understand why co-benefits are so important with carbon projects. And you highlighted why this goes beyond just reducing emissions and accounting for these social and environmental safeguards for communities on the ground. So that's really important. And I'm excited to talk to you today because we're discussing the national carbon market in Panama and the development of this carbon market. And I'm wondering if you can touch on how are local communities expected to participate in the design of carbon projects in Panama, and how are social benefits expected to be taken into account during project design?
Well, for Panama, the issue of environmental and social safeguards is extremely relevant, especially because it is a country with around 65% of forest cover, and much of this land is located in the territories of comarcas and indigenous communities. Social and environmental safeguards are relevant because they seek to ensure respect for the human rights of participants and the proper management of any risk of unintended negative impacts of carbon projects. Strong environmental and social risk management leads to better and more sustainable projects and prevents projects from harming people or nature. Specifically, in the case of Panama, since the market is still being structured, we do not yet have a developed project that has gone through all the required records and safeguard controls. However, we do have a robust system of safeguards contemplated to ensure positive impacts to the communities and indigenous people involved. Any project interested in participating in Panama's national carbon market must register under the National Greenhouse Gas Emission Offsetting System, which will have a registry structure that will allow for the collection of information regarding mitigation projects developed at the national level that intend to generate national carbon credits, also known as UNRE, National Emission Reduction Units by its name in Spanish. It is expected that this registry structure will also include a system of safeguards more specific to the national circumstances and realities. It should be taken into consideration that the Ministry of Environment of Panama has pre-selected some of the most experienced crediting mechanisms or registries in the international voluntary market, among which is climate action research. Each one of these selected mechanisms has its own system of social and environmental safeguards, which indicates that the national market will have two complementary systems of safeguards. In addition, Panama is making progress in the development of the Panama Forestry Protocol for Climate Action Reserve offset credits based on the Mexico Forestry Protocol. The adaptation of this protocol was carried out through regular meetings with many national and international experts who formed a working group, among which were included representatives of various indigenous communities of Panama. The invitation to participate was sent to representatives of the 7 existing indigenous groups in the country, being able to contact 6 of the 7. The inclusion of representatives of indigenous communities in this process was intended to build a protocol that is adapted to the realities of local communities in Panama and to ensure that their needs and concerns are respected. Although, due to the national regulatory framework regarding land ownership, the first version of the protocol will not include projects on comarca lands. It is expected that they will be integrated in a second version, including social and environmental safeguards for comarcas and collective lands, also including issues such as consultation and prior, and informed consent of indigenous communities as regulated by National Law 37 of August 2 of 2016. Also, notification, participation, and documentation issues, monitoring and governance of the project, which includes the role of the project coordinator as a link for the communication between the reserve and the owner. For collective lands and comarcas, he or she must be a member of the collective land or comarca and must prove through a General Congress resolution that he or she was elected as the project coordinator by the collective land or comarca people.
Thank you so much, Anna. That was a really fantastic way to share how all of these considerations go into building a protocol. And not only that, ensuring that as we build the protocol, communities and the Comarca indigenous people are involved as we build out the protocol because they will be the ones who are working on these carbon projects. So that is such an important note. And also, I'm excited that you shared that we at Climate Action Reserve have entered this strategic collaboration with the Ministry of Environment of Panama to support the strong and successful development of this national carbon market. So I really appreciate you sharing this. And in Panama, how are these affected communities expected to participate in the assessment of carbon projects? And how are social benefits taken into account during monitoring, reporting, and verification?
As I mentioned earlier, Panama is in the process of structuring the national market. Due to the importance of local communities and indigenous people for this market, The Ministry of Environment has sought to integrate these actors from the conception of the market and its first stages. Representatives of indigenous communities have participated in the construction of methodologies and eligibility requirements for the development of projects located in collective lands and comarcas, including the review of MRB processes. It is expected that the members of comarcas or collective lands will be included not only in the project design stage, but also once the project is under implementation, being involved in the monitoring, reporting, and verification processes, which should be evidenced in the project documentation. Additionally, it is expected that the national market projects not only comply with the certification process established by the selected accreditation mechanism, but also participate in the offset project registration process located in the National Transparency Platform, which is the official mechanism for the management, reporting, and registration of national climate initiatives in Panama. This registry will allow having information regarding the projects belonging to the national carbon market presented in a transparent and public manner. Additionally, through Executive Decree number 142 of December 9 of 2021, which establishes the national market and its components, a mechanism for addressing complaints and appeals under the second component of the market, the national offsetting system, is also established. This mechanism is still being planned. Social benefits have been included in the system of social safeguards mentioned before, which take into consideration the dissemination of information and capacity building regarding the project, the description of project costs, the identification of economic benefits and their distributions, information regarding the sale of credits generated by the project and the use of these funds, and the participation of the community in all the stages of the project, including their approval of the overall project.
Thank you, Anna. That was really fantastic in that you've shared how the community will participate in all stages of the project, including the design of the project, as well as this monitoring, reporting, and verification, which is also critical. And now that we understand a little bit about what goes into developing protocols and ensuring that folks are involved, looking at projects themselves, what project types do you see as leading the way in providing these co-benefits to Panamanians, as well as what project types are lagging behind in the field?
When guided by the trends of emissions by sector at the national level, the sectors with the greatest relevance in terms of emissions are the forestry sector, followed by the energy sector, and in third place is the agriculture sector. This has caused the national market to promote offsetting projects in these sectors in order to reduce national emissions. These projects are expected to have co-benefits that impact Panamanians. For example, the development of agroforestry and silviculture projects could generate improvements in soil quality, increased resilience, food security, improved air quality, among others, while a reforestation project could generate co-benefits such as increased biodiversity, improved air quality, employment, increased resilience, and forest preservation. These projects are not only expected to provide co-benefits such as those mentioned before, but also to achieve the fulfillment of some of the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. With this in mind, the Registry of Offset Projects under MiAMBIENTE has a specific section to detail the co-benefits and SDGs that will be impacted by each project. The national market has also identified potential for the development of mitigation projects in other sectors not as relevant to the national emission trend, such as the waste sector and the industrial processes and product use sector, which could include waste management and refrigerant change activities. These activities could include very important co-benefits such as improvements to health and air, water, and soil quality. However, they have not been prioritized due to the lack of more detailed sectoral information.
Absolutely, Anna. And very exciting to hear that, we're starting with this forestry sector, but forward looking, there are all of these other sectors within the carbon market that Panama will and eventually look at to determine how they can further integrate more types of projects within the country. And looking at different stakeholders within the carbon market. How important is the inclusion of co benefits within carbon projects to buyers themselves? And do co benefits impact the sale of credit?
So benefits are increasingly important to buyers. Buyers are not only looking for carbon related benefits, but they are also looking for the credits purchased to have high environmental and social integrity. According to the latest State and Trends of Carbon Pricing report from 2023, published by the World Bank, projects that include sustainable development benefits, such as community devices, have increased their sales despite having higher prices. This is why it is so important that all parties involved in the development of projects participating in carbon markets are aware of how the market is moving and what are the most relevant features today. To achieve a true positive environmental and social impact, those interested in developing and certifying a carbon project should demonstrate more robust and transparent processes from the accreditation mechanism and regulatory entities. Accreditation mechanisms and governments need to include safeguards and co-benefits identification and confirmation processes so that credits beyond carbon can be secured.
Thank you, Anna. That is such an important note that these safeguards and co benefits are identified and confirmed within all of these processes, but also this education piece. So the market is continuing to evolve, and people need to ensure that they're looking at the credits that are bringing these highest value of environment and social impact. So we appreciate you sharing that. And looking at co benefits, what are the challenges to ensuring that they're incorporated into carbon projects?
Well, in my opinion, one of the biggest challenges lies in the difference between the national circumstances of the various jurisdictions under which the projects are developed. Each project has its own characteristics, just as each jurisdiction has its own regulations and dynamics. Again, in my opinion, it is complex to rely on methodologies developed at a general level, applicable at an international level, as they do not necessarily include these national particularities. In Panama's experience, we plan to rely on a national registry that is expected to be complementary to the requirements established in the methodologies developed by the pre-selected accreditation mechanisms for the national market, so that these particularities can be addressed. Another lesson learned so far is that in order to guarantee co benefits and other positive impacts, it is necessary to ensure participatory processes that include the communities involved from the beginning. Likewise, robust follow up and monitoring processes are required to ensure that these co benefits and positive impacts are maintained throughout the life of the project. Finally, I think it is valuable to integrate a grievance mechanism that allows a communication channel between the impacted communities and the national governing entity, in our case, MiAMBIENTE, so that any negative impacts arising from the project can be reported.
Thank you, Anna. This is really helpful as looking and understanding these challenges can only help us prepare to have a more robust and successful national carbon market in Panama. And the Reserve is really excited to be supporting this development and working with the Ministry of Environment, MiAMBIENTE, on these efforts. And Anna, as the carbon market expands across Latin America, what is on the horizon for Panama and what's next for the country?
The national carbon market proposed by Panama is based on a compensation mechanism. That is to say, it is expected that the carbon projects developed in national territory, which apply to the generation of UNREs, will meet a demand made up of companies of diverse nature that operate in national territory and participate in the Reduce Your Footprint corporate program. As a priority, this market will seek to satisfy the national demand, generating new economic flows and promoting mitigation actions to reduce emissions and increase removals at the sectoral level. However, the national market is an ambitious mechanism which hopes to connect with other mechanisms and market approaches at the international level. MiAMBIENTE attaches great importance to the issue of environmental integrity and quality of carbon credits, which is why it has chosen to work hand in hand with accreditation mechanisms with extensive experience in the voluntary market and other regulated markets, as is the case of climate action research. In this way, through the use of existing methodologies generated under these mechanisms, it will be possible to generate projects that meet the high standards of the best players in the voluntary market. It is expected that as Panama's national market generates high quality and transparent credits, it will participate in other markets such as CORSIA, the Carbon Offsetting and Reduction Scheme for International Aviation, and the mechanisms of Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, which require the country to have a robust MRB system that allows the tracking of credits and avoids double counting, distinguishing those carbon credits and the fulfillment of national commitments, including in the National Determined Contribution, or NDC, and those that can be used to be traded at the international level. This is a complex project which involves a lot of coordination and capacity building, but we are confident that with the support of national technical teams and other regional and international support, we will be able to build our carbon market with the best practices.
Thank you so much, Anna. That is such a fantastic note to leave us with. We're really excited to build out this carbon market in Panama to ensure that we're involving communities, coordinating across the board, and supporting this capacity building. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I also am excited to continue watching the developments of the Panama Forest Protocol with Climate Action Reserve and the work that MiAMBIENTE is doing within Panama. So, Anna, thank you so much for your time.
Now, thanks to you, Lauren, for this opportunity.